Hey, how you doing, people? It is Wednesday. It is February 8th. We are 1 week away from Valentine's Day, and the world is going good. I have worked a little bit on the uh, oversaturation issue. It's not perfect, but it's definitely a lot better than it was. Today, I want to talk about the one of the types of editing, proofreading. But first, I wanted to briefly go over. I did not make it to the Vermont Winter Fair, but it looks like everybody had a wonderful time. If you went there, please tell me all about it, because I'm always interested in hearing what people had to say and do. It's always so much fun. My next event will be the New Hampshire Renaissance Fair. At least one day of the 4 days, I will be dressed as Sister Agnes of the Immaculate Privies, who is my 14th century Cistercian nun persona. You'll notice me because I'm in the habit. Please note, however, I will only be doing that if it's not 97 degrees, because 97 degrees was too hot for that outfit. I about melted, and that was not a good thing. So the temperatures have to be in the 80s or lower in order for me to wear that outfit. It really is very, very much a colder weather thing, because there's so many layers to it. That said, if it is even remotely reasonable, Sister Agnes will be there one weekend. And I know that there is going to be a Barbarians and Viking Day, and I will be dressed in Viking garb for that day. One day I will just be in my regular 14th century garb, and then I might be in 18th century garb one day. I don't know. We'll see. I'm playing around because I can. Be aware that I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I'm hoping that both the Van Life cookbook and the new clay cooking cookbook that I'm working on, which is a mini cookbook, will both be out in time for New Hampshire Renaissance. So cross your fingers, everybody. Hopefully you will have wonderful, delicious things that you can pick up at the fire, where we will be with the Brotherhood doing our usual cooking displays. Even though I will not be directly with the Brotherhood because I work for the fair, doing some of the work, volunteering, does not mean that I will not be cooking. I will be cooking, and I'll be enjoying myself. I tend to do a lot of the cooking for the vegans and vegetarians who are on site, because my kitchen is set up to do that, even my outdoor kitchen, because I have partners who are vegan. So I'm already doing it. Adding in extra doesn't really take any more time. I'm really tired today. I needed to get up early because I have to make bread today, and I've been running like nobody's business since early this morning, and I'm dragging. I want to go back to bed. I want to take a nap, and I can't. I just have too much to do. Okay, editing. So last week we talked about line editing. This week we're talking about proofreading, which is also called style editing. I prefer the term proofreading, so I'm going to use that throughout. The link to the article from shorthand.com that I've been kind of using as my template for this is there. And excuse me. So a lot of this is, it sounds like when you're talking about, well, you're looking for grammar and spelling, you're looking for a sense of overall, it sounds like you're repeating things over and over again. And to a certain extent, we are. Every single time you go through, you need to look for spelling and grammar errors, even though you've done that 4 times already. Why? Because you don't want to send your book out with those things in it. So when you're proofreading, that is the process of reading to find and correct errors in grammar, punctuation, and spelling, and also for inconsistencies in the text, such as incorrect facts or discrepancies in the sequence of events. So this is what I do with one of my kids. They come and sit and I read out loud. They enjoy the story and listen and often catch things that I miss. So when I wrote the original Taylor Mange novel, Bloodstone, I had our hero, Alexandra, going into a coffee shop to get coffee and walking out with hot chocolate. Now, if that had been a mistake in her order or a plot point or something, that would have been fine, but it wasn't. It was me completely not paying attention and messing up. And my kid caught it, and therefore it got fixed. So that's the kind of error you're looking for. Because when you're tired, you write things you don't mean to, and you say things you don't mean to. But yeah, what you're doing is you're looking for any of the kinds of errors, especially in continuity. You want to look not just at line by line like you did with line editing, but the story as a whole. Does magic work the same at the beginning of the book as it did at the end of the book? Is the science the same throughout the book? Does everybody still have the same powers, or are new powers explained? That kind of thing. You don't want to have major changes or even minor changes, because I will tell you, as both a reader and a writer, we notice those things when we're reading and we see that something has changed from the beginning of the book to the end of the book. We notice that. And it's important as writers that we clean that up. Proofreading is usually seen as the final step in the editing process. And it's often what you do when you have sent off your work for line editing and then it comes back to you. Now you're proofreading. I'm going through my book through right now doing the basic editing, but eventually I will get to line editing, which I use a program for doing. Plus I have a couple of readers that are grammar Nazis like me. And so we work our way through it. But this is kind of the final step in the editing process. And you want to make sure that your content is error-free. Another thing that anybody who is my age or older wants to do is go through and do a check for double spaces after periods, because we don't do that anymore. And the reason that we did that when we were using typewriters and early computers was because of how the spacing went on the screen. And that's not the case anymore. You really have to get rid of doing that. It is an unnecessary step, and it actually looks very unprofessional in finished novels. You don't want to have that in there. I actually will use a find and replace and look for 2 spaces throughout a novel every single time I go to put it out, because I did that for so many years. I did that for more years than I haven't done it. So it's hard to, I do it automatically. So I have to remind myself not to. Other ways that you can do proofreading is to read aloud to someone else, to yourself, or alternatively read into a tape recorder or voice recorder, or your phone, whatever, and then listen to it back while reading the text. These are things that cause you to use different parts of your brain, which make it easier to see errors and problems. There are a few checklists out there that you can get that will help you decide what needs to be gone through in your book and how to look at it. You can grab one of those and work your way through. That's always fun. Like I said, when I get to this point, I like to use the Hemingway editor because it highlights things like my tendency to overuse my commas and quotes and ellipses. And it also highlights my overuse of passive voice, which I try actively, see what I did there, to avoid doing. And that's kind of the end of proofreading. It's just kind of the end of what's going on. It's where you check that all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. And you should be doing this. It's very important. You should go through any piece of written material at least 4 times. And I would say with at least 24 hours in between each go through. So even when I'm writing a short piece, so I do articles for a couple places online, and my bread needs to be looked at, but I can wait till the end of this. But yeah, if you are, where was I? If you are going through things, and don't go through it and then, make lunch and come back. You need to take at least a day's break, and longer if you can afford to, so that you have time to reset your brain, so that you see your work with fresh eyes. I can't stress how important that is. Looking at your work over and over again in rapid succession is your brain will gloss over errors that otherwise you would catch. If it was somebody else's work, you'd be like, why are they putting out this crap? And honestly, I've done that where I have a random quote somewhere, and I look at it and I go, oh my God, that's horrible. Who wrote that? Oh, I did. Ooh. It's a thing. It's important. So there you have it. Next week we're going to talk about developmental editing, which is a whole other ball game. And I think that's about it. I mean, I will be talking to people. I'm actually going to have in Kimberly and Cynthia from the New Hampshire Renaissance Fair. I'm going to do a video with them where they come on, and I'm going to interview them, talk about it, because we would like you, some of my readers, to come to the New Hampshire Renaissance Fair and volunteer with us. We are always in need of volunteers. And if you volunteer, you will get into the fair for free, and you will not be working the whole day nonstop. I do that. Kimberly and Sin do that. But most of you will not. What happens is you come in and you get a shift. So you work, 3 hours in the morning, or you work the lunch shift or whatever. And then you have the rest of the day to yourself. You get to dress up in a costume, which we don't have a lot of giveaway costumes, but we can help you kind of piece something together. And you get a beautiful ribbon that says that you were a volunteer. And if you're in my group, you'll be getting something special, which I'm not telling people about, but I have something special for people who are going to be working in the general group with me, because we need people. There are different groups that do different things. So we have security, we have people who work with the kids, people who do cash. The general group, which I run, is the group that makes sure that the bathrooms are clean, that there's toilet paper in all of them, that there's water by all the stages, and that the garbages get cleaned out. And I would like to say that I'm so proud of previous years' teams. My guys are amazing. They have made New Hampshire, I constantly hear that we have the cleanest bathrooms, that the garbage does not pile up like it does at some other fairs. And that's not to say the other fairs are bad, because it's hard to keep up on it. I can say with that with authority. But it's amazing how much work my volunteers put in. I am so proud of them. I could not do this by myself. They are the ones who get the work done. I just do a bunch of organizing and stuff. So, we'll be talking more about that again in like 3 weeks, I think. Maybe the 22nd of February, or possibly the 1st of March. Somewhere in that general area, though. Anyway, you guys have yourself a great week. I will see you next week. And remember to hydrate and eat good food and get some exercise and get out there. The weather is nicer now. It's not sub-zero temperatures. So go get some exercise, get some fresh air, get some sunshine. Because, pretty soon this whole pale thing is going to go away. And it's going to go all red again, because I'm going to be out in the sun all the time. All right. Have a great day, guys. I love you all. Don't forget to like and subscribe, okay? Bye.